Howdy, howdy, howdy. I hope this video finds you doing well. Today I'm going to cover an album that I came to rather late, considering that it came out in 2009. I think I discovered it about 2017-ish. A good friend of mine has always been into this artist and has inspired her and her music, and lo and behold, this album pretty much changed my life. As in, I couldn't stop listening to it once I really did dive into everything that this album has to offer. So, if you're a big fan of lyrics that lay everything out on the table without necessarily saying it in the most obvious way, you'll probably really enjoy this. It's by David Bazan. It's called Curse Your Branches. And it's his debut solo album after he went on hiatus with Pedro the Lion. And I gotta say, even though some of the subject content is pretty heavy, musically it isn't always as somber as you might think, because it does deal with some pretty heavy subjects, like questioning faith after being a devout Catholic, and alcoholism, and just the whole breadth of issues that come along with those types of realizations. There's some tracks that'll probably hook you in lyrically, but musically, I would say he takes more of a indie rock approach. But I would say that the songwriting is so powerful that the songs don't necessarily rely on just the musicality alone. With that being said, there's probably a good handful of tracks that I really, truly adore. With the song Harmless Sparks being kind of a really blatant criticism on the Catholic Church in regards to pedophilia, and just, I don't know, he comes right out and says some things that are, witty in a way, but some ears that might not be so open-minded might take offense to it. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything offensive in what he's talking about. It should be talked about. And that kind of pervades the whole album. The album opens up with a track called Hard to Be, which is kind of like an indie rock anthem with its piano line that repeats through. It's like a gold track for real. But it talks about kind of like the origin of sin, at least the story, and how maybe implausible it might be, the fact that humans can be so bad just as a result of one action taken however many thousands of years ago from somebody eating a fruit on the tree. Yeah, that's kind of how a lot of this goes. I apologize, I'm not a YouTuber, so you're going to have to deal with my imperfections in speech, but and the pauses. But I would say that the crown jewel song for me on this album is called Lost My Shape, which has this really dreamy, utopian type of sound. It kind of reminds me of how Crystal Blue Persuasion was used in Breaking Bad. It just has this weird cinematic feel, almost like it would be perfectly placed in 1950s suburbia with Cadillacs all in every single driveway. The utopia that Hollywood sold us on. Anyway, it's a really good track. I don't know how how to put it. Like, if you're somebody with feelings, you probably would relate to how this is, because it's kind of deals with age, but also the consequences of thoughtless behavior that might have gotten you into a certain situation, like alcoholism, for instance, or just being, somebody that bores full force straight ahead without really thinking about anything but that. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of my favorite tracks on that album. There's another one on there that closes the album called In Stitches, and it kind of touches in that same vein of sound, but it's a little bit more like if Lost My Shape is more about maybe resisting certain things, that like alcoholism, for instance. In Stitches is kind of like, it investigates the relationship between maybe man and consciousness, and I use man as like, human. I don't mean it in any gender, but like if we talk to God, through like the conversations we have in our head, it's kind of like that, but more about doubts and how alcohol might be used as a buffer to, there's like a blatant criticism against God in the song, which is worth hearing, because you don't really hear something like that in a song that has this kind of musical sound. Anyway, I've blabbered on a lot here. I would recommend that you check out Curse Your Branches. I don't know if I even said the album name, but yeah, it's called Curse Your Branches. The self-titled track on that album is also top-notch stuff. Anyway, yeah, if you made it this long, thanks for hanging out. You definitely owe it to yourself to check this out. All right, we'll see you around.